Hello, once again, and welcome to part 3 of the HR series. This one deals with employee recruitment. Our objectives here are to learn how organization strategy affects recruiting, examine how business recruits both internally and externally, learn how a business can improve their recruiting efforts, and examine how diverse recruitment and career development activities are important to the organization. So, first of all, what is an employee profile? A profile of a worker developed by studying an organization's top performers in order to recruit people who are similar to that type of level of production. Why is this important? Well, obviously, you want to have the best workers. People who show up on time, come in and try to do a good day's work for the money they're paid, not sluffers or people who stand around and text message all day. So it's important that you hire similar people to your top performers because anything less would be kind of an insult to your top performers. So decisions about talent, whether they pertain to recruiting, transferring, promoting, developing, or deploying people, the need to be considered within the context of a business strategies and priorities are monumental. The broad factors that can affect a firm's recruiting strategy include a firm's recruiting's ability, whether to recruit externally or internally, the type of labor market they're in for the types of positions they're recruiting for, including both the local and global labor markets, and the strength of the firm's employment brand. Branding is important. We'll talk about that in a minute. So, who should do the recruiting? Well, with large companies, it would be an HR recruiter or generalist. Smaller firms, it would be managers and supervisors. It could be work teams or recruiting process outsourcing. What is that? It's hiring a company like an employment agency to hire your people for you. Is that a good practice? Well, yes and no. Number one, you know what you need best. So, hiring and questioning those people in an interview process will help you align the talent to what you need. On the other hand, letting an agency do it means that they're on a temporary basis, let's say for 60 days, and at any time you're not happy with that employee, you can call that employee agency and say, no, take this one out, send me another one. And that, in that aspect, you're not worried about legal ramifications. What is the internal labor market? Labor markets in which workers are hired into entry level jobs and then higher levels are filled from within. Is this a good practice? Why or not? Yes, it is because most people want to get ahead in the job that they're working. If there's nowhere to go above where they're at, then they're going to wind up leaving you. So if you promote from within to these higher job levels, your employees are inspired to do a good job every day. By filling vacancies this way, an organization can capitalize on investment that they made in recruiting and selecting, training, and developing the current employee, who, if there was no opportunity, might look for a job somewhere else due to the lack of promotion opportunities. And there are advantages and disadvantages to both. Internal job postings help identify talent through performance appraisals. You can look at skills inventory and replacement charts of the present employees. And also, you can use a 9-box grid. What is it? It's a comparative diagram that helps you appraise and assess data to allow managers to easily see an employee's actual and potential performance. It looks something like this. A 9-box grid shows the below target on target, and above target performance assessments. And in this way, you can evaluate each employee. Passive job seeker. These are people who are not really looking for jobs, but could be persuaded to take new ones given the right opportunity. Nepotism is the preference for hiring relatives of current employees. Re-recruiting is a process of keeping track of and maintaining a relationship with your former employees to see if they might be willing to return to the firm. Also, college graduates, have a career day. Invite professors and advisors to visit your office and take them to lunch. Invite a student group to the office. Offer job shadowing. There are lots of ways that you can take advantage of your local college to help recruit new help or new blood into your organization. Recruiting externally, well, you can use professional associations like the Society for Human Resources, labor unions, both blue collar and professional unions, public employment agencies, state and local government ones, private employment and temporary agencies such as Manpower, Kelly Services, Aerotech, and so forth. And then there's also employee leasing, which is just temporary help. Down here in Florida, whenever we have a hurricane, they temporarily lease line workers to come in and help get the power back up. Those are not permanent hires, they're just a temporary lease. Some sources, as we told you in the previous section, were to promote from within, to look for employee referrals, to review previous applications that you've received. Externally, it could be somebody walking in, educational institutions, college career day, and so forth, employment agencies, and simply just putting an ad in the newspaper saying you're hiring and what you're looking for. Labor markets play a big part into your scheme of things. The labor market is the area from which applicants can be recruited. A tight market means high employment, low unemployment, therefore not as many available workers. A loose market is low employment, higher unemployment, and a bigger variety of workers available. Factors determining the relative labor market are the skills and knowledge required for a job. Do the people in the area have these kind of skills? Are you offering the level of compensation commensurate with other jobs in the area? And are there a reluctance of job seekers to relocate to your firm? People will also be looking for the ease of commuting to work and the location of the job. Is it urban or non-urban? Global sourcing is another method. That's a business practice of searching for and utilizing goods, sources, etc. from around the world. Why should you recruit globally? Well, to develop better products via a global workforce and hopefully to attract the best talent, whatever it may be, in particular skills that you might need. But international recruiting issues are local and national and international laws may affect how you recruit. There could be different labor costs. There could be different pre-employment and compensation practices. Obviously, there's going to be cultural differences you need to be aware of. Security will change, and do they need visa or work permits? Earlier, we talked about branding. Why is that important? Branding is a company's effort to help existing and prospective workers understand why it is a desirable place to work. You want to have great qualities so people look at you and say, you know, I'd like to work there. But if you have a poor reputation, you're not going to attract too much help. Realistic job preview is a way to inform applicants about all aspects of the job, including the desirable traits and the undesirable traits, providing a real, true vision so the employee knows all the good and the bad up front and they can make a decision from there. Surveys are used so that survey managers surveying managers regarding how satisfied they are with the process that they have to hire and train new employees, or the degree to which they need to be involved, and the overall quality of people recruited as a result of their effort. Recruiting metrics are simply statistics on sources from which candidates are recruited and hired, as well as the cost of each source. But it'll also tell you whether the particular source was a good source or not a good source. So in doing so, you want to look at not using unrealistic job previews. Let the employee know everything that's going on, the good and the bad. Use surveys afterwards to determine whether your pattern of recruiting is successful, and develop recruiting methods so that you know what it works for you, what doesn't work for you. Is putting an ad in the paper good? Is using the college career day a good source? All these help you hone in on the best process for your recruiting. The quality of fill statistics equals a formula of the quality of hire. PR plus HP plus HR divided by N. That's the average job performance rating of new hires, plus the percentage of new hires reaching acceptable productivity within an acceptable time frame, plus the percentage of new hires retained after 1 year, divided by the number of indicators, which in this case would be 3. So an illustration of that formula, PR plus HP plus HR divided by N, we have a PR average 3.5 on a 5-0 scale, which gave us 70%. And the HP of 100 hires made, 75 were acceptable productivity, so that gives us 75%. We have a 20% turnover, which leaves us now with a figure of 80%. And there was 3 metrics that we used. So 70 plus 75 plus 80 equals 225%, divided by 3, which gives us a 75% success on this metric. The object, obviously, is to find a method that produces the best metric. So if you can come up with another recruiting method that gives you an 82 or a 90%, that would be the method that would be most beneficial to you. What is time to fill? It's a metric referring to the number of days from when a job opening is approved to the date the person ultimately chosen for the job is selected. The yield ratio is the percentage of applicants from a recruitment source that makes it to the next stage of your selection process. Cost of recruitment, and believe me, recruiting costs. The formula is as seen here, in which SC equals the source cost, H is the total number of employees hired. So you want to look at the advertising costs, the agency fees, referral bonuses, no-cost hires, walk-ins, etc. And here you can see the figures that we provided. So the recruitment cost to hire one employee based on all the numbers in this instance is $467.23 for one employee. Does it seem logical to have a high employee turnover when you spend so much money to recruit, train, and develop an employee? So you want to work what you can to protect that you don't have high turnover, and instead you have a higher retention rate. There's much more to learn here about HR, and we hope that you'll take the time to see the other topics here. Thank you for observing this one, and hopefully we'll see you in Chapter 4.